It's the dinosaur news. I think. Got to get the technical stuff set up. Look you in the eye. Hey, the name is Beattie. Beattie boy. The dinosaur news brought to you by the British People's League. Impromptu. Haven't got the usual setup quite as classy in the studio here. We got Sir John on the chair over here to my right. So that's all very interesting, Beattie. We've clicked into here. Your studio's not set up properly this time. Why? Probably the first video I've done without going to elaborate processing for the studio. How are you today anyway? I say impromptu because I like to plan the videos. I'm not in the YouTube market. I'm not in the competitive YouTube marketing board. Turns out I'm only doing about one video a month now. Well, as I say, unless there's something urgent, something new on the scene, you can't call the three-ring circus something urgent. The three-ring circus. Check out the dictionary definition. Three-ring circus. Going on in Britain with the commotion in their parliament, the motherland's parliament. You get the three-ring circus here in Canada and the three-ring circus in America. The three-ring circus. And if we, the common people, think that anything is going to change in anywhere with the three-ring circus, elections coming up, you're in cloud nine. Nothing's going to change for the little people. Nothing whatsoever. There's no white crusader on the scene in the three-ring circus. It's got to be the ordinary people that we're in touch with by email, or people that come into the studio to say hello here, or people that are connected with Peter Hollings in the United Kingdom. Peter likes to remind me that, there are other great people connected with the Patriotic Crusade in Britain. Of course there are, but I can't name them all. So we got Peter Hollings in Britain. We got John Gerhardt in America. And a fellow named Max. Max knows who he is. And there are others as well. But that's not the purpose of the video today. The purpose today is to really accent the three-ring circus. And anyone who thinks anything's going to come out of it is dreaming. Now, whatever you want to call it, wherever you may be in Whitelandia, whatever you want to call it, legal underground defense units, they're there. We've seen proof. When we mingle with the public, when we mingle with friends of the British People's League out with the public, the signs are there. Close-up signs, people sitting beside us out of the blue, nodding, smiling. I think a recent video, I made it sound as if we were just hanging on by a threadbare. Well, there's more than a threadbare. They're out there, the good people, who were pretty young when the attempt was made in 1978. Attempt? What are you talking about now, Beattie? Fill us in. Well, you have to do a little button pushing, clicking, and check out the over 100 videos put out by the British People's League, yours truly as the spokesman. Over 100 videos, and in those videos, we discuss past, present, and future. Much detail, much shocking statements, many shocking statements, and not one has been threatened with shutdown. But the three-ring circus, I just had to come on today and get this off my chest. There are people who actually think things will change. What a joke. You think things are going to change in Britain, America, or Canada? Because of elections? The Stooges? Three-ring circus, three-ring Stooges? I don't care who the candidates are. Who's kidding who? Nothing's going to change for little people until there's a big upheaval. Legal underground defense units. Legal underground network. I say legal because down the road, when the parliaments are in complete turmoil and upheaval, when the killings in the cities are just beyond the imagination, the public will demand defense. Now in Canada, the laws on guns only allowed hunting rifles to go hunting. But surely a hunting rifle can be used to defend your family if there's a home invasion, as I've said in other videos. And I know, to direct you back to past videos, they seem like passing the buck. Well, it is passing the buck. I don't need to repeat philosophies of the British People's League, our purpose, etc., when it's all laid out there for you on John Beattie YouTube. Obviously, you know how to get in. You're here right now today, aren't you? And ironically enough, I didn't realize it until I started the video, a fellow you've heard me speak of personally over the years in the different videos. Oh, there's somebody sent a little message. Anyway, a fellow that was so much personally to me. We all have our good personal friends. Henrik van der Wint, a Dutch-Canadian. He was fantastic in the early days of stirring up the public here in Canada. We were used by enemies and opposition. We didn't catch on. But between the two of us, I guess we were just in cloud nine. All the publicity we were getting, we didn't care. This would have been his birthday. Oh boy, I didn't even think about that now. What he was about, 25, 55, 60, 30 years older than me, 40 years older than me back then. We were in the annex at 15 Admiral Road. His wife passed away early on. He didn't remarry. So, his rooming house was a fraternity house, quite the building, 15 Admiral Road. You might say, well, big deal, it's an address, Beattie. What are you bringing that up for? Because there's a lot of left-wing types will know 15 Admiral Road in the annex. And that's the address I had, the rooming house of Henrik van der Wint, when I went to the University of Toronto to study philosophy of law. So happy birthday, September 14th, Henrik van der Wint. God bless you, my dear old buddy. Okay, Beattie, so far you've babbled away, 8 minutes gone, you've said nothing. Sound like all the politicians in the three-ring circus. Well, at least I'm proving I'm still alive, in spite of the predictions. Some of the lefties have got a new nickname for me. Now, how do I put it without swearing on air? Notorious Old F. They refer to me as the Notorious Old F. ... Love it, love it, love it. Compliments. So how are you today? You got your hopes up in the three-ring circus? Forget it, forget it, forget it. Put your hopes in the alternatives. Actually, there's a promising new group set up in Britain called the Patriotic Alternative. And one of their talks at a recent meeting was given by a Colin Robertson, Scottish lad. Terrific talk on good and evil. Yes, indeed. Where everything good is turned upside down and called evil, and everything evil is turned upside down called good. And as Colin pointed out in his talk, we live in a lie. The schools lie. The churches lie. The corporations lie. How the hell anything keeps going? Well, it's not going really well, is it? All the human waste is going into the oceans. We all know the doom and gloom. The lefties can preach that, and the green is turning yellow and brown with feces. Happy days are here again, Johnny. Usually, Beattie boy, you give us optimistic sparks of hope. Well, yes, I do. We have to tear down the false wall, the false hope that the three-wing circus is going to get anywhere. There won't be one iota of change, no matter who gets in those three nations. They're all linked to the same money boys, aren't they? Oh, yeah, well, there might be an exception who looks good and sings a sweet song. As soon as they get in Parliament and get the graft, they say bye-bye to little people, bye-bye to us, don't need us anymore. So I want you to seriously think about, again, the legal underground defense units. Start in your kitchen. Forget the meeting halls and forget what's out there. No. Inward, in your kitchen with one or two buddies, one or two ladies, pals. You're shooting the breeze about what's going on anyway, so give yourselves the title of a legal underground defense unit. That's what you are. And I don't even know who you are, but I know the strength is out there. As I said earlier on in this video, which is September 14th, 2019. As I said earlier on, there are people who give their signs and signals, and friends of the British People's League know exactly what I'm talking about. They're out there. Our people, our tribe. White, Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Celtic, our ancient Viking blood. We're here. We're here to stay. We're here to defend ourselves legally. When the state authorities collapse, which they will, and I'll be alive to see it, thank God, thank Odin, and we'll have these legal defense setups, legal defense networks in the Anglo-Saxon, Anglo-Celtic world. And they are spreading, and they're there. And they're still connected, a lot of them, with the 1978 situation here in Canada. Canada's Secret Civil War, which you can get all the information you want in past videos. It's all there. I'm grinning because a bit of history. Protest for this young man. First protest when I was 21 in 1963. So I was going to march down Yonge Street from North Toronto. Didn't know who was going to be with me. One lady friend back in those years helped me with the very simple signs. Criminal code laws, not magistrates' decisions. More stick to what our Constitution says, not interpreted by judges, etc. And we're gonna march from Sherwood Park in Toronto, near Yonge and Eglinton. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. It was just I had to stir things up. The country was turning too liberal in 1963. But here's why I brought that point up. Because I know you young people out there, you want to hear about 2019, not 1963. But what struck me, it shows you how quickly things can turn. That's why we have to have legal underground defense units in place. So get busy. Graduate from your kitchen to your living room with your friends. Keep all the discussions legal. Defense. But what brought me to mind, 1963 to 1978, that's only 15 years. In 15 years, it went from a lone lunatic, notorious old F, to have a march down Yonge Street, and there was only about 8 or 9 people showed up at Sherwood Park to gather to start the march. I don't know if I made a mistake, but I said, no, there's no point walking down Yonge Street with about 8 signs. But the spirit was there and the posters were there. Unfortunately, another good old friend passed away, John Ross Taylor, years ago, and he had copies of all of these materials, but they were destroyed by the family. when he passed away. He sure wouldn't have wanted to be living at his address at 269 Sherburne Street these days at Sherburne and Dundas. Well, it's like any city, whether it's Chicago or Melbourne, Australia, you name it. But in any case, there's only 15 years difference between 1963 and 1978. So what, Beattie? 1978, big things happened in Canada. Big things happened. There were British patriots, and actually they were on the payroll of government agencies on our side. What's our side? The old stock, the old way of life, that's our side, with the young blood. Why, there was even one officer from the British Armed Forces in Toronto. And of course, when you do the research in the past videos, those who are steady viewers know, as I've mentioned many times, that Hazel, my passed away wife, was the go-between. She had the discussions with the big shots. She came back one day and said, well, I met one officer from the British Armed Forces on loan to us, and he knew your father, John. My father was in the Suez Crisis. My father was in the Suez Crisis in the Royal Air Force. And here's an officer helping out with a constitutional arrangement in 1978 that lasted in the 80s, 90s. Hell, there's still the contacts and the thread is still there. It's a stronger thread than I thought of those children of survivors of our tribe. Everybody else talks about their tribe. Let's talk about the Anglo-Saxon Celtic tribe. With our European cousins, of course. So there's 15 years difference between a young guy, 21 years of age, who's going to lead a march down Yonge Street like William Lyon Mackenzie in the early Canadian days, British Canadian days. 15 years later, from 63 to 78, it went from one man to big time. Big, big, big time. Harmless walking by out front, little wee pooch. Beautiful in Haliburton County. Those people have been thinking of moving out of the cities of rat race. Do it. You'll love it. Okay, back to the story. Does that sound reasonable? 1963 to 1978, 15 years. So what's the point, Beattie? How does that relate to the overall picture of how we're going to save our British history, British Canadian history, or how we're going to save our white race? Well, think of it. 15 years from a lone guy who wanted to speak out to the public, frustrated, didn't like the way the country was turning in 1963. And 15 years later, wow, wow, wow. You want to know what I'm wilding about? This is the first video you've watched? Well, get busy and do the research. It's not lengthy research. Just pop into the videos on the John Beattie YouTube. And that was the real frustration that I wanted to get at today. Wow. And I've just got warmed up, and there's almost 20 minutes coming up. It's going to take ages to download the video. Well, I started earlier on this Saturday morning. So that's the assignment. Do the research if you're interested in helping Canada of the future, Britain of the future, America of the future. There were American volunteers came up here too during 1978, 80s, things that went on. Do your bit. I'll continue to try to do mine. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Maybe I'll have the studio set up. Maybe you like the different taste on Beattie Boy today. Or the notorious old F is still at her, gang. Goodbye for now.